Right, this is Jataro. He's the 3-year-old untouched Andalusian gelding, and this is his first ride. Now, I usually do this in the round pen. I really prefer to do it in the round pen. However, Campbell Boileau, as you can see here, is at this very moment installing the loading ramp so that I can bring a number of untouched horses into Can-Do Equine so I can practice for the way of the horse, am I chosen? And he's installing it right now, and I wanted to do this first ride. So this Andalusian is actually a very quiet fellow for an untouched horse, and he's 3. So I thought he's going to be fine in the arena today. And I'm just going to keep him down this end of the arena for his very first ride. And it's mostly going to be walking figure of 8s and walking left, walking right, and hopefully a few strides of trot if I think he's up to it, which I hope he will be. He, of course, has already learnt the hips of the fence lesson, and we have practiced that quite a lot in the round pen. And will have yesterday, included in his lesson yesterday, would have been just a getting off and getting on in the round pen, with him just standing quietly by the fence like this. And they do, with that lesson, they do learn to stand, very still and very quietly by the mounting block or the fence, whatever you're using to get on. I do actually have a mounting block on order, but it hasn't arrived yet. And so what I do is I put the mounting block next to the fence. I train it just from the round pen fence first, and then I put the mounting block next to the fence, and then I gradually move the mounting block further and further away until it's in the middle of the arena, and I can mount the horse quite safely in the middle of the arena, or wherever it is I would like to mount the horse. Excuse me, adjusting all my trousers and so forth, but he's doing very well standing quietly whilst I do all of that, which is just what I want. So first of all, I want to ask him to give to the bit and be soft in the bridle before asking him to walk off anywhere. A couple of steps backwards, slightly unbalanced, and that's quite usual for the first time you actually ask them to move their feet. They sort of say, "Oh, I don't think I can." There we go, that was good. He's got an astonishing mane, this horse, for a 3-year-old. Is quite incredible. The owner was delighted to find out that you're not allowed to pull them or plait them or do anything. She was thrilled about that. Now this horse has been swapping and changing which is his best side, and I always think that's a really good sign that you're getting somewhere. You've got a horse whose best side is his left, which is quite often the case, and then suddenly his best side is his right. It really means you're making progress, so I'm always very encouraged to find that. I also find that quite often what might be a horse's best side on the ground isn't in fact his best side under saddle. And this horse, he was pretty bad on the right and found things quite difficult, long lining and even just give to the bit on the right. But now, because I've worked a bit more on his right than his left to get that better, it is actually much better. So on the ground, his better side is now his right. But I think what I found here was that he was more comfortable on the left. So I'll find which side I think is more comfortable quite quickly as soon as I get on, and I'll work that side until he's comfortable enough to go the other way. What I found with this particular horse in these first 2 rides was actually his left was much better than his right. And you'll see in the video of his second ride, actually the worst thing he does a little bit is sort of stall. I call it stall when he's going right. So when you're trotting around to the right, he'll sort of come back to walk without being asked to do so. And that's fine. That's quite a usual thing to do. For this first ride, I don't have too many obstacles in the arena or the round pen wherever I'm riding. I like to have 1 or 2 things that helps me direct the horse. It's very easy if you don't have any obstacles to be a bit blur about what you're asking the horse. So I try to have a cone or a barrel or something, and if I don't have that, I usually look at things on the ground, or footprints, or little stones or something like that, so that I make sure I'm actually directing my horse and the horse is going exactly where I want him to go. Because it's easy for us to sort of lose concentration up there and sort of vaguely make a circle round to the left, for example. But for the horse, it's quite meaningful. I really want to start right from the word go, asking the horse to put his feet in very specific places. I don't want to be blur. I don't want the horse making decisions. I want the horse to be looking to me for answers and concentrating on me. And he can only do that if I'm being very specific about what I'm asking him to do. And that really goes throughout the training. When you look at the round pen work, for example, the first thing I do with the horse is get the horse to turn in the round pen, so inside and outside turns. And I'm very specific about asking for an inside or an outside turn. What I don't want to do is let the horse run around the round pen, turning willy-nilly, and him deciding whether he's turning inside or outside, because that says something to the horse that I might not necessarily be trying to convey. And it also uses up all the horse's energy, whereas I could be teaching the horse something. So all the time when I'm riding, I'm trying to teach the horse something. When I've got a good established horse, I'll take it out on lovely long trail rides and I'll chat with my friends. But until then, when these horses are young and they're learning so much, I need to concentrate 100% on that horse and 100% on where its feet are going. Is it soft in the bridle? Is it listening? If I want to be safe and if I want the horse to feel confident and comfortable, which is what, of course, makes me safe.
He's doing a little pout.
So I'm quite happy with him here. He's in a reasonably soft frame. He obviously, it's ride one. He needs a lot more work on the softness, but he's concentrating and he's trying quite hard. And we're moving further up the arena, which is good. You'll see with this horse, I haven't yet disengaged his hindquarters. I have taught him to disengage his hindquarters on the ground, but he hasn't really done anything to make me think that he needs to do that exercise under saddle yet. He has done it. Since this lesson, I have worked on disengaging his hindquarters, but if I can get a horse in his first ride just to walk forward nicely and quietly like this, that is my ultimate aim. If I find that difficult, like you saw in Joker's first ride video, I did need to sort of disengage him and move him around in smaller circles to start with, because he was rather more nervous than Jataro. Obviously need to work on stop a little bit. Oh, that was better. Then as soon as he stops moving his feet, I release the rein and praise him so that he works out what it is he's done. I rest a lot when I ride, especially these young horses. And a lot of people think I just talk a lot. She rides for 2 minutes and then she stands for 1. And perhaps I do talk too much, but I like them to learn very quickly that when I've got my hand or just drop the reins on their neck like that, all they need to do is stand still, nothing else. And they learn that very quickly. That's good. And then off we go again. The first thing before we go is give to the bit. Put your head down, concentrate. It's very hard for a horse in that position to run, buck, bolt, do anything really that I'm not asking him to do. And you really want these first rides to be nice and safe and quiet and gentle. And I think that makes a very big difference to how the horse behaves for the rest of his rides. It's very frightening, I think, for a horse to run and buck, and they get very frightened. And that just sets you up for failure in the future. So if I can make the first few rides as quiet as possible, and this is a perfect example of that, and so was Joker's ride that you saw in the last video. This is exactly what I want to see on a first ride, a soft horse that has a nice soft frame, not with its head in the air, not with a hollow back. If a horse has got its head in the air and it's got a hollow back, it's very uncomfortable. So you get into trot and it's going to be bouncing me out of the saddle, which I really don't want to do, because that could be very uncomfortable for the horse as well. So you can see, even if it's very early stage, the level of the relaxation of the horse is really important. You can see now I'm asking Jataro to have a little trot. What I'm doing is I'm clucking at him, so I've got a verbal cue, and I'm touching him with my legs. I'm not kicking him, I'm just touching him rhythmically with my legs until he trots. And as soon as he trots, I release all those cues. I stop clucking, I stop touching him with my legs. And he's going to come back to walk on his own, and when he does that, next ride, I'll cue him to trot again. But I'm not going to start cueing him every stride to keep trotting. I think it's a very important thing, and I'll talk about that on this second ride.